Yes, good morning.
BBC Radio Foyle
and BBC Radio Ulster
with Gerry Anderson.
Thank you, John, and Belfast Radio Ulster. Thank you, Susan, up here on BBC Radio Foyle. This is Gerry Anderson here. It's almost 29 minutes to 11 o'clock today. Entering well into the middle of our 7th month of winter, you'll be pleased to hear. If you want to contact this programme, the number is 0845 9555 678. That's 08459 555 678. I think that's right. I hope it's right. And if you want to send me an email, it's jerry.anderson@bbc.co.uk. I'm so efficient. Someday I'll make myself sick. Here's a new song it's a new album from Charlie McGettigan. This is a song called Uma Baluma.
Well, I know a little lady who keeps singing a song. Something about it got me singing along. It doesn't have any meaning, it's got nothing to say. It just goes Uma Baluma Ballet. Singing Uma Baluma, singing Uma Ballet. I try to fight it, but it won't go away. It doesn't have any meaning, it's got nothing to say. It just goes Uma Baluma Ballet. In the quiet of the evening, when I go for my snooze, I put my feet up, I kick off my shoes. I'm tired, I'm weary, it has been a long day, but she goes Uma Baluma Ballet. Singing Uma Baluma, singing Uma Ballet. I try to fight it, but it won't go away. It doesn't have any meaning, it's got nothing to say. It just goes Uma Baluma Ballet. She sings this melody all day. No other melody, it just goes Uma Baluma Ballet. Well, this crazy little lady got me going insane. She keeps doing it again and again. It doesn't have any meaning, it's got nothing to say. It just goes Uma Baluma Ballet. Singing Uma Baluma, singing Uma Ballet. I try to fight it, but it won't go away. It doesn't have any meaning, it's got nothing to say. It just goes Uma Baluma Ballet. Singing Uma Baluma, singing Uma Ballet. I try to fight it, but it won't go away. It doesn't have any meaning, it's got nothing to say. It just goes Uma Baluma Ballet. Singing Uma Baluma, singing Uma Ballet. I try to fight it, but it won't go away. It doesn't have any meaning.
There's something.
It's got nothing to say.
What are you laughing at? What are you laughing at? Hello? What are you laughing at? What happened there?
I don't know. You turned me on and turned yourself off.
Why did I do that?
I don't know.
I made a mistake. I'm terribly sorry. A mechanical mistake. Sorry.
Yeah.
Now that you're on, goodbye.
Goodbye.
That's the type of song that you always say that you're dancing around the studio.
It's
not really.
It's very like something. What is it? It
I don't
reminded
know
me
what
of
it's
something.
like.
Yeah,
It's
very,
like
it's very
something,
catchy.
yeah. Do you know the way some people say, we were all dancing around the studio,
Yeah.
but actually nobody ever does that? Did you ever see anyone dancing around the studio?
No.
They always say they do. That's one of those DJ lies. It
What
keeps people
about the
going.
big man,
What big man's that?
Richard Kelly?
What about him?
The statement he came out with on Friday night.
I wasn't watching him. What was he doing? Gerry Kelly of
Yeah.
UTV fame, chat
Yes,
show?
yeah.
What did he say? Anything about us?
He's going to burn his cubes this week.
Is he? Why is he doing that? What? Oh, I see these cubes. The dice things.
Yeah.
Why is he going to burn them?
He's not a bit happy with them. They won't come up.
Oh, nobody's winning.
No.
It's a very hard game in the first place. You see, if you were down the back of this, if you were down an alley and you were throwing those, you'd never win. Snake Eyes never comes up. So did he get angry?
He said, that's it. He says, I'm burning these cubes.
I think he's about to crack, you know.
Yeah. So he's trying to devise a new game. So he's looking at a new game for a Friday
Is he?
night. Yeah. So maybe we could come up with something for him.
I don't know. It's very difficult for us.
Yes.
On the periphery.
There's a lady on one who wishes to remain anonymous.
Well, that's okay. I was thinking the last time he saw him that he was...
It's a bit drastic, though, isn't it?
No, he's
Burning them.
He's close to the edge, though, isn't he? The next step is burning the studio. This is the way it happens. Okay, thank you for that.
That's all right.
Thank you very much. It's happy birthday to Sally, an international net and twine. She's a big fan of Mr. Coyle's for some strange reason. And here's another email from a lady called Lynn. These are left over from Friday. We at the University of Ulster at Jordanstown, we liked your programme, and as it's Friday, which means Poets' Day piss off early, tomorrow's Saturday, would you please play that new song? Don't know the title or singer, but it's a great number, something about your black suit. That's from Lynn. That's from Juliet Turner, by the way. We'll play that during the course of the programme. And please say hello to my mum and dad, Nan and Charlie Willis of Donaghadee. They've both been hospitalised recently and are now back home looking after each other. Mum is a Daniel O'Donnell fan, as am I. She would be pleased to hear something by him if possible. Please could you oblige? As you've had a bit of mileage out of Daniel this week on the programme. Incidentally, you said the other day that you didn't think Daniel had the hips for golf. No, they don't turn right. He has the perfect hips for everything. Could I impose on your good nature to say hello to Rachel Barrett and tell her it's only 13 weeks and 2 days to go? She knows what I mean. Sounds like holidays to me. Thank you very much. There we go. That's Cherry. We'll play something by Daniel later on during the course of the programme. And here's another one from Jack Murray. He said, would you please have a word with David Dunseith and tell him how to pronounce Coltrane? He insists on saying Coltrane, as the posh and snobbish people who live there say it. They do there, don't they? They do say that. Coltrane. Coltrane. Why do they do that? They sound like bullfrogs. Where do you live? Coltrane. Coltrane. I've asked him to change, but he still does it to annoy me. Does he claim to live in Ardglass? That's where Gerry Kelly lives. Ardglass or Coltrane in place of Ardglass. See, a lot of people in Ireland don't like the R word. This is not specifically unique in Northern Ireland. In Dublin, RTE, nobody says RT in Dublin. They say RT, the R. They don't like saying R. And people up here don't like saying R, so they say oh. Is this making any sense?
Daniel's in your core.
Pardon?
Daniel's in your pile behind you.
I know he is. It's only a matter of reaching back and getting it.
Yeah.
Sure, I know that. Don't tell me what I don't know. Don't teach your granny how to suck eggs, Sean. I know it's in my core. Say control.
Control.
Glass. Glass.
Right, Jerry says Ardglass.
He does, yeah, but a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
These mates in the golf club would say Ardglass. But he says Ardglass because he used to play in a band.
What song does he sing?
Who does?
In your core, Daniel.
I don't know.
You said,
I know all I have to do is reach back and get him, but I don't know what he sings. Any old thing will do.
I just want to dance with you.
We have a request for Seamus, a number of requests, may I say, from a record I played last Friday by Seamus Marin. It's called Broken Link, about the, what do you call that programme? The Weakest Link?
Yeah.
Goodbye. But we've got this, I think this has got the makings of a hit. Going to play that first, then we'll play Juliet Turner, Play the Black Suit, then...
Play the Black Suit.
Yeah, Burn the Black Suit, and then we'll play Daniel O'Donnell, I Just Want to Dance With You. That's the whole programme set.
Well, what about the lady on one?
I'll just deal with her now in a moment. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Gerry.
I'm sorry to keep you like that. I'm just planning the programme.
Gerry, I was wondering, would you do me a favour? Would you please ask the people who listen to you, would any of them have the tape of Little Mermaid?
The film?
It's a video of Disney, Little Mermaid.
I remember, I think I was driven to buy that one Christmas.
That's right.
There was one Christmas it was big, wasn't it?
That's right. And then it got lost in the removal. And my granddaughter's upset about it, and she would like it.
Does she watch
I've tried everywhere. I can't get it. I wondered if maybe you could get it for me.
Does she watch it all the time, does she?
She did, yes.
Did she? Some strange fascination for that.
There is.
Amongst children. Yeah, I don't think that'll be too difficult to get, you know. Did you have a look around any of the
I've tried everywhere, and it's not released any longer.
Really?
And I wondered if someone maybe had it and no longer wanted it, I'd be prepared to buy it.
Okay, then, that seems, sorry, I'm yawning. Sorry, it's nothing to do with you.
Okay.
It's to do with the fact I don't get much sleep at night. I will, okay, anyone out there who's got Little Mermaid and is willing to sell it or part with it, I imagine somebody would give it to you. Because those things, you know, a lot of those children's videos, the children look at them once and then throw them in a heap in the corner.
Yes.
And I'm sure there's many households got Little Mermaid stacked in the corner that nobody looks at.
Okay.
So we've got your What?
Extravision and Antrim have it.
Did you see me yawning there when I was talking to that lady?
I did.
I hope she doesn't. I hope you're not offended, love, are you?
No, not a bit. I'm delighted.
Who's that behind you?
No, that's Gerry.
Oh, sorry.
Did you get that message?
Pardon?
Did you get the information?
What information?
That I just told you.
I can't remember. I forgot. I'm like a goldfish. About 4 seconds.
Extravision
Extravision where?
and Antrim.
Extravision and Antrim.
Have it.
You'll get that if nobody comes along with it.
Right, thank you very much.
But I would say you wouldn't have to travel all the way to Antrim. Where do you live yourself?
I live in Bangor.
Ah, well, you see, that's too far for you to go.
No.
I would imagine somebody would actually ring up and say, you can have my copy, I would imagine.
Well, surely all Extravisions will have it. Will they
Keep
not?
out of this, please, will you?
I'm sorry, turn me
I'm
off.
talking with the lady, and just turn him off. So we'll see what happens. If all comes to the worst, if all fails, if Extravision have it in Antrim, in wherever it is. What did I say? Antrim.
Antrim.
If Extravision have it there, Extravision will have it everywhere.
Okay.
Because
So
the
thank you
world
very much.
Not at all, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.
Okay.
What?
Any of the Virgin stores, the gentleman just have to ring in there now.
Sean, I wish you wouldn't bother me about these trivialities.
I didn't bother you. It's the lady phone looking your help.
These are trifles. Why don't you just make a note of it? I want to go on to something else. We're talking to people about the Blitz today, aren't we?
Yes.
Well, actually, this is a good idea because, as you well know, on 15th of April and on the 4th of May, 1941, the German planes bombed the city of Belfast. Over 1,000 people lost their lives, and a lot of the city's housing was destroyed or seriously damaged. And there's a lot of specialist programs on over the course this week to commemorate the 60th anniversary of the Belfast Blitz. BBC Northern Ireland have a series of special programs on radio and television all week. For instance, tonight there's a special edition of Newsline, and it's on every evening between 10:35 and 10:45 this week, featuring stories from those who have lived through the Blitz. And just after Newsline tonight in Market Forces in 10:45, I'm particularly looking forward to that. That's Sam McCartney. I haven't seen Sam for a long time. I wonder, is he okay? I haven't seen him for a very long time. Have you seen him?
Well, the fact that you haven't seen him doesn't mean that he's sick.
I don't mean that. I mean, I haven't heard him on the radio or anything or seen him on television for a long time. Market Forces, I think that was a program that was made a while back, was it not? About 10 years ago.
I don't know.
But it's very, very... I remember seeing that. I think it's the one I remember seeing. Sam McCartney takes a trip across the border to reminisce about the black market trade during the Second World War.
Where was the first place I met Sam McCartney?
I can't think.
You introduced me to him.
Did I really?
You did.
Must have been some pub or other.
Close.
Close? A restaurant?
No.
Notice how I didn't pronounce the T
Yeah.
in the end of the restaurant. I don't know. You'll have to let me in on it.
Down Royal.
Down Royal, the race... Oh, yes. Remember the time we used to go to the races? Before the foot and mouth epidemic, of course. Did you see Pat Kenny on Friday night?
No, I was watching
There
the
was a
golf.
thing on. It was very, very funny. Pat Kenny is, I think, he's very, very... I don't know. No, I better not say it.
No, don't.
He was doing a fashion show, and he was doing all this stuff, and it was all very interesting. But there's this fellow came on who wore hats. Who made hats.
Different.
An international figure. No, he's an international figure. Seriously, I kid you not.
Yeah.
Very serious international figure from the south of Ireland. But he was fascinated by. He was no. He had a little dog.
Fascinated by the dog?
No, he had a great love for his dog, and Pat Kenny, being a caring person, kept referring to his great love for his dog, much to the embarrassment of the man who made hats, as a matter of fact. So they decided to buy him a gift. So they bought him a gift, and the gift was, they unveiled it, and it was a portrait of his dog.
Right.
See?
Yeah.
And then Pat Kenny said, of course, we had to give you the portrait because your dog would have loved to have been here tonight. We couldn't have it in because of the foot and mouth restrictions. But he said it with a straight face. It's brilliant. Anyway, we like
turn me off.
Yes, but we would like to do. Will you ring Martin Lynch? Martin Lynch is going to talk to us first
Yeah.
of all about his experiences
I'll
during
ring
the
him
Blitz.
after the news, if that's all right.
Yeah, Martin Lynch will be talking to us about his experiences during the Blitz when he was evacuated as a child. Anyone else has got any unusual stories they want to share with us? Sorry, I sounded like... Oh, I'm sorry about that. Anyone who'd like to talk to us about that, give us a ring at 08459 555 678. Here's Seamus Martin. This is a hit, you know. It's pretty serious at the start, but it gets better.
Oh, you are the weakest link, goodbye. To your old black toes, goodbye. To my good red shirt that I bought out of Marks, a tie to match and a pair of lovely socks. Everything she asks, you're me old brain blocked. Oh, you are the weakest link, goodbye. was really hyped very high when they told me I could try to won 10 grand on a TV show, but there was a lot of things that I didn't really know. For she made me shake from my head to my toes. Oh, you are the weakest link, please go. Oh, you are the weakest link, goodbye. To your old black clothes, goodbye. To my good red shirt that I bought at a Marks, a tie to match and a pair of lovely socks. Everything she has, sure me old brain blocked. Oh, you are the weakest link, goodbye. Oh, she asked me things that were tough. Halfway through I thought that I had had enough of her intimidating eyes and her old girly smiles, and the turning and the twirling of her old black cloak, and me sweating and wishing that her old jaw was broke. For I was the weakest link, no joke. Oh, you are the weakest link, goodbye. To your old black clothes, goodbye. To my good red shirt that I bought at a Marks, a tie to match and a pair of lovely socks. Everything she asked, sure me old brain blocked. Oh, you are the weakest link, goodbye. Then came the walk of shame, when she told me to go home. Through the big bright lights, sure it must have been a sight, for my brain began to squelch. God, I'm glad I wasn't Welsh, for I was the weakest link, goodbye. Oh, you are the weakest link, goodbye. To your old black clothes, goodbye. To my good red shirt that I bought at a Marks, a tie to match and a pair of lovely socks. Everything she asked, sure me old brain blocked. Oh, you are the weakest link, goodbye. For I was the weakest link, sure I am the weakest link, and I'd rather do 10 years in the dirty rotten clink than to ever see again how I right I give a wink and say you are the weakest link, goodbye. For I was the weakest link, goodbye.
Tell you what, that's either a work of staggering genius or the worst song ever made. I can't make up my mind, but there's definitely something about it. There's a wee bit there for everybody. A bit of Ulster Scots thrown in as well for those of you who speak the language. I don't. Happy related birthday wishes to Mrs. Maura Morris from Belfast, who celebrated her birthday on Friday, and love from all her grandchildren who think the world of her. There we are. And please Please wish Celine Armstrong from Oma a very belated birthday, a happy belated birthday for last Saturday the 7th from all the family and the 2 wee cubs. Where's Alec? What?
Alec's the man that you talked to on Friday, and he's just got a wee update for you.
Well,
and do you know the lady that you spoke to about the wee mermaid video?
Yes.
She's got it.
Excellent. Where did you get it from? Do you know?
A chap called John in Bangor who lives quite close to her.
Excellent. That's far handier for her than trailing.
Yeah. He's going to deliver to her.
It's far better to her.
Now, this is just a follow-up to your...
Absolutely. Hello?
Hello.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, how are you?
What are we talking... I'm fine, thank you. What are we talking about the other day?
The border.
Oh, yes.
Not the border, but my daughter... or
The
granddaughter.
herbaceous border.
That's correct. Well, believe it or not, after trying in all the 4 kingdoms, I got it and poured it down.
You see. Oh, I remember what this was. You were decorating a bedroom, and you're looking for a border. What was it called? Happy
it was
something?
called Ragtime Rascals.
Ragtime Rascals. And
actually it was called Rhymetime Rascals.
Rhymetime.
They even got the name wrong.
It sounds vaguely Nazi to me.
Does it?
Mm-hmm. Combat 18 and all that. I hope it's none of that stuff.
Oh, well, it's little bunny rabbits and things.
Well, that's okay. As long as there's no crosses burning on the lawn, that's the main thing. But you see, what you did was you came to me as a last resort.
Yes.
You had given up, and I slightly...
Oh, no, I hadn't given up.
No, I slightly resent the fact that you regarded me as the last resort.
Well, I know your airtime is very valuable, you see, so I didn't want to waste it in sort of a triviality.
That's exactly the right thing to say. So, in other words, you got it.
Yes, sycophancy was always a...
Sycophancy, we deal big with sycophancy in this show. We demand it. As a matter of fact, we thrive on it. No, that's good. So you got that. So this is just a recommendation.
I'd just like to say a big thank you to Jameson's and Portadown, especially to Rita and to Nigel, who it was Rita that rang me and told me the good news.
Yeah.
So the update is that the bedroom's completed, that there's a whole border in.
This news will flash across the country at amazing
Of course
speed.
it will.
And there'll be dancing in the streets, and who knows, bonfires lit in waste ground.
Would you like me to let you know when the paint dries and the...
No, I'd like to go up and watch it dry,
Oh, you would...
if you don't mind.
Well, I'll listen to your show while I'm waiting for the paint.
Let me know when the bedroom's finished. There'll be a cause for celebration throughout the land.
It will be.
There'll be bonfires flickering in the hillsides.
Gosh, and fireworks.
Indeed, yes. And indeed, parades and street names
No,
may
no,
be
no,
changed.
No, don't let's not have parades.
No, we've had, all right, let's have a contentious feeder parade. And then we can change street names in your honour. We can call it Border Street. Herbaceous Border.
But then of course somebody would want to get rid of the border.
Yes, of course, and there may be marching on Stormont. We better not say anything. Let's celebrate it quietly.
Will do. Thank you
Okay,
very much.
Thank you
anyway.
very much, sir.
Cheers there. Bye.
Bye. You know, it does my heart good. You know, people think that I'm
Yes, you
hard-hearted.
can.
But it
Yeah.
does my heart good to know that somewhere out there I've helped someone. Because after all, I've led a
Underneath
life
the
of...
arches.
What?
Under the arches.
Hello? 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 Where is it?
You're calling too.
No, there's not. Hello?
Hello,
Oh, sorry, you're very faint and weak.
hello,
Hello?
hello.
Hello? Can you hear me?
I can hear you in my own radio, but not in my ear.
Well, it'd be handy if you heard me in your ear, but if you can only hear me in your own radio, that'll have to do. Have you got an ear cocked to the wall, if I may use that expression?
Yes, of course.
Well, you can hear me all right
I
then.
can
I don't
hear
know.
you now.
Okay.
Yes.
Who's that? Who are you?
My name is Rose, and I come from Ballymena.
Right, Rose.
And you were mentioning Sam McAutry a while ago.
Yes.
Well, I knew Sam. Either you must be very old, or I'm very, very, very old.
Yes.
Because I knew Sam years and years ago, 1951, 52.
Yes, he was around then.
And he was. And he wasn't a baby then either.
No.
We worked together in Pigs, Bacon and Ham division of the Ministry of Agriculture.
The Pigs, Bacon and Ham division?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they call it that anymore.
I'm sure they don't.
The PBH.
I don't know what they call it now. But anyway, Sam was going strong then. And as you were saying, what was his pet likes? Well, we all liked, and he was the one that would have taken us now, for instance, coming up to big races or that, he would have taken a wee bet for us.
He was a punter, yeah. You enjoyed a wee
Yes,
little flash on
he
the
did.
horses, yeah.
And he was a lovely man.
He
and
was
still
indeed.
is, I'm sure.
Oh, I'm sure he's still knocking about, but I'm just wondering out loud. I hadn't seen him for a long time. He's got a film on. You should watch that tonight. It's on television at 10:45.
There is.
Yeah, on BBC Northern Ireland. It's called Market Forces, I think it is. I've got the
Oh,
wee
dear,
piece of
dear,
paper
dear. I
here.
don't even need any extras. I could have gone.
What do you mean?
When he's making a film, he's bound to need extras.
Ah, well, see, it's not that type of film. I think he made it a little while ago. And are you keen on extra work? Are you?
Oh, yes, surely. Have you any?
Not at the moment. Have you ever done any of it before?
Not really.
I was nearly an extra one time in a film, but I failed the audition.
Oh.
It's
Maybe
great
I'll
being an
do
extra.
it too.
It's a very hard job, apparently. A couple of friends of mine were extras in films. I know a friend of mine who was an extra in a very famous film a very long time ago. In a film, did you ever hear a film called Ryan's Daughter?
Mm-hmm.
He was an extra down there, and he said it was unbelievable. He said they made them stand around the beach at Dingle for like 4 days at a time. He
In
said
other
he
words, you have to work for your keep.
No, he said he almost died of exposure. So what actually happens is, if you've got a crowd of people, suppose you have a crowd scene on the beach. Do you know what I mean? And you know what beaches are like in Ireland.
I do.
It's only special days you can go down on them.
Mm-hmm. Especially up at Marble Hill.
Yes, and like for instance, today would not be a great day to go to the beach, for instance.
Or up at Bloody Forlan.
Bloody Foreland is right. Watch your tongue.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing, you see, whenever they're making these films, you see, the light may be out, the sun may be out, it may be bright, but it's sometimes bitterly cold. But you can't tell that by looking through the camera.
No.
Do you know what I mean? So people pretend, when the sun is out, people pretend it's terribly warm. So you might have a whole day of filming, maybe 12 hours, maybe 10 hours, maybe 8.
Or
And you'll be
maybe
standing on the beach all
Maybe
that
I'll
time.
look for something else then as a sideline.
That's right. And you don't get paid all that money for it, much money for it. You just get a bite to eat, and that's about it.
Oh, well then I'll not bother.
I would advise you to avoid it. I would say you're a woman of a certain age.
Well, yes.
You may be a little fragile for extra work.
Yes.
Don't you forget to watch Sam tonight.
Well.
All right?
Nice to hear of him again.
That's right. No, Sam's a very, very... he wrote a very good book. I can't remember the name of it, but I read it. I think it was called Sam McAutry's War.
He did an awful lot of good work for adult literacy and that type of thing.
That's right. He's very keen on education. He's a very
Yes.
he's a very fine writer. Sam
He's a man
McAutry.
that had he got chances in his early days, he would really have. Well, he did do a good lot of work, but I think if Sam had got chances in his youth,
Yeah.
and if today had it been around the opportunities that are for people, Sam would really have gone places.
Yeah, you see, that's one of the problems. You see, of a lot of people who grew up in the 30s and 40s, you know, things were different. And now, people with talent are kind of snapped up right away. But at that time, if you had any talent at all, people thought you were a weirdo.
But he was a generous man in every way.
He still is.
Well, I suppose it's not nice to be talking to people as was.
He still is, I'm sure. I've heard no word of his demise.
No.
All right,
I don't
then.
think so either. Well, it's nice to hear you too.
Thank you. And you watch this programme tonight, 10:45, Market Forces, BBC Northern
That's
Ireland.
very late for me to stay up.
Ah, for God's sake, woman, take a pill.
Okay, Gerry.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. He'll have to wait.
No, this is quite important because it's something that you didn't do.
Hello?
Hello, Gerry.
Yes, I believe there's something I didn't do.
Yes, Gerry, Wendy Stafford here. It's about a cheque that you promised me. Remember, I was on with you about 12 weeks ago.
Ah, yeah. I can explain that.
Can you?
Yes. I got a little nervous about the idea of it.
You did?
Yes, I see. I'm not a man who cares about monetary matters. And mostly all the money I get, I either give away to charity or the taxman. Mainly the taxman, because he wants more of it than charity. But I just felt, I felt nervous about it because I didn't know much about you.
All right.
And
well, it's fair enough. I mean, that's fair enough. It's just a pity you hadn't told me earlier. It's just that.
No, it's not that I distrust you in any way.
Well, the point, the argument on this here is, do you not write cheques? That's what I say to people. Do they not write cheques at all? You write one to the oil man, you write one to anybody at all, and what's the difference?
Yeah, no.
That's the thing. There is no danger with it, really.
I know. I'm only saying that just to weasel out of it. As a matter of fact, I have your envelope upstairs, and I think I will do it.
I had a response from 2 listeners, which I appreciate, from your show.
Yes.
I got the one from Donegal Place in Belfast.
Yes.
And another lady from Ballyclare, she was on the phone with me too, so I did get some response.
All right.
But that one that I was talking to you about, because it's closed down, it's very difficult,
I know what you mean, yes.
to get that one.
I know what you mean. I'll get that. I have, as a matter of fact, I have a couple of those. People have no idea what we're talking about, by the way. I just suddenly realised that. You're looking for cheques from defunct branches of banks.
No. Well, yes, but I'm trying to get a cheque from every branch of every bank in Northern Ireland. Which was about 330, and I'm sitting at the moment now with about 200 and almost 230.
You see,
so still 100 to get.
You must consider my reluctance. It's like a baby who is burnt.
Yes.
And then suddenly he grows up and has an inordinate fear of fire. That's the way I am. You see, I've had terrible experiences throughout the years with cheques.
Have you?
Oh, I have indeed. Oh, I could tell you things that would make your hair curl.
Yeah.
But I have to get over this fear, and I know it's irrational. And I know you're a decent, honourable, and an honest man, but sometimes when I get to write a cheque, my pen trembles.
Yeah.
Because I've never...
Even for the small amount, like?
Even for the small amount.
I'd be prepared to send you the 10 pence.
No, it's not the question of the money, it's just it's a psychological thing.
Yeah. But it'll never cost you anything anyway, as you realise,
I understand that. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that I've been hurt. I've been hurt before through
Well,
checks.
I can assure you there's no problem.
I know.
As far as I'm concerned.
Okay, I will send you the cheque, hopefully today if I've got one of them with me, but if not, during the course of the week, because you sent me a stamped address envelope.
Yes, you did read my letter out over the air.
And a little wee square piece of cardboard, which I appreciate.
Yes, it's just to, keep a cheque from getting bent. I want to keep them in good...
it's nothing worse than
but I still have problems up around your area. Limavady, Ray and all, with the various banks. I'm having great difficulty making contact with people up there because I just don't know as many. I'm in County Down here, you see.
Yeah. Oh, don't worry about that. I have problems with the banks up here too. You're not the only one.
Yeah.
All right, then. Well, I'll send that to you, sir. I'm sorry for the delay.
No, I just wanted to know, Gerry, if it was possible, if you would do it for me. I'd appreciate it if you could do it for me. Just that I am quite serious about this.
I know you are.
That I'm at.
I'll do it seriously. I seriously do it. Yeah.
Okay, Gerry.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed. Now.
Thank you. Bye. Bye. He's got the right attitude. Other people who ask you for cheques, they're far more belligerent and threaten you with all kinds of bailiffs and one thing or another. But I'm well used to that. It's 11 o'clock.
92 to 95 FM.
and 1341 medium wave.
BBC Radio Ulster.
This is the news with Ciara McGrillen. A 16-year-old has appeared in court charged with the murder of a man in Glengormley. Trevor Lowry died in hospital 2 weeks ago. From Belfast Magistrates Court, Anita McVeigh reports.
49-year-old Trevor Lowry, a married father of two from Hightown Rise in Glengormley, died in hospital last week after the attack the previous weekend. Mr Lowry, a Protestant, suffered severe head and facial injuries during the assault at Harmon Parade. Detectives believe his attackers may have thought he was a Catholic. A 16-year-old who can't be identified because of his age appeared at Belfast Magistrates Youth Court this morning charged with the murder. He was also charged with attempting to cause grievous bodily harm to a witness. A detective inspector told the court he believed he could connect the youth with the charges. The 16-year-old was remanded in custody until the 2nd of May.
The police are investigating an incident at a bar near Castle Rock in which a pipe bomb exploded after falling off a windowsill shortly before midnight. The device was left at the village tavern in Articlave. No one was injured. The SDLP Assemblyman John Dallett says he doesn't believe the motive was sectarian.
I don't think we've had incidents like this in Articlave before. I don't think the incident was sectarian. That does not in any way diminish the seriousness of it. People in the pub could have been hurt. Passers-by could have been. And it reintroduces pipe bombs to an area, to Coleraine, which of course hasn't had them now for a long time.
Security sources say gun attacks on 3 homes in the Portadown area are linked to tensions between rival loyalist groups. Shots were fired through the windows of the houses at Granville Road, Westland Road and Robinsonstown Road late last night. No one was injured. The Countess of Wessex is back at work a day after stepping down as chairman of her PR company, following newspaper revelations about comments she made to an undercover reporter. Buckingham Palace is looking at new guidelines on how members of the royal family run their businesses. Here's the BBC's royal correspondent, Nicholas Witchell.
The Countess said nothing when she arrived at the offices of RJH. Although she's stepped down as the company chairman, it's understood that she'll be closely involved in the restructuring of the firm she co-founded 4 years ago, in the hope that it will be able to survive her loss and that of her business partner, Murray Harkin, who resigned yesterday. She'll be particularly concerned to reassure clients who will undoubtedly be disappointed at the disappearance of their royal PR advisor. Buckingham Palace is saying little about the process of re-evaluating the kind of careers the younger members of the family can pursue, but the palace is aware that it is now under intense scrutiny from Westminster and elsewhere, and it knows that whatever guidelines do emerge, the process needs to be completed quickly.
The Assembly is to test opinion in Northern Ireland on how far parents and guardians should be allowed to go in physically punishing their children. The Minister for Finance and Personnel, Mark Durkan, said he's keen to start up an open and sensitive debate on the issue and will publish a consultation document within the next few months. The need for a closer look at the legislation follows criticism by the European Court of Human Rights of the acquittal of a man in England who beat his child with a garden cane. And the weather, dry at first, but showers will develop through the morning. These heavy and prolonged at times. The maximum temperature 12 degrees Celsius. BBC Radio Ulster News.
BBC Radio Ulster.
Travel news.
In Belfast, roadworks are taking place on East Bridge Street from Stewart Street to the Albert Bridge. Traffic heading into the city is restricted to one lane until 4:30. Resurfacing work continues on the A22 Killinchy Road in Cumber. Traffic controls are in place in the area. And diversions are in operation at the junction of the B59 Tully Road and Craigstown Road in the Kells area. Roadworks continue. Deirdre Harshaw with the travel.
Thank you.
BBC Radio Foyle
And BBC Radio Ulster.
with Gerry Anderson.
Yes, the news is bad. Sophie Wessex is getting it tight. Look at the time. It is 5 minutes past 11. I'm telling you, the idea of being royalty and taking advantage of your position, that's unthinkable, isn't it? Unthinkable. I mean, what's the point of being a royal if you can't have a bit of crack? It's coming up to 5 minutes past 11 o'clock. This is Gerry Anderson here. The number to ring is 08459 555 678. If you want to send me an email, it's gerry.anderson@bbc.co.uk. I'm a war baby, you know. I just didn't realise that before. If Hitler had won the war, what would he have done with me? I can imagine him walking up, striding over Northern Ireland, saying, "Where's the Anderson boy child? Scatter him to the four winds. Make sure he doesn't grow and develop."
Press it down. Boss ain't here. He's gone north for a little while. They say that vanity got the best of him, but it sure left here in style. By the way, that's a cute hat you're wearing, and a smile so hard to resist. What's a sweetheart like you doing in a dump like this? You know, I once knew a woman that looked like you. She want a whole man, not just a half. She used to call me sweet daddy when I was only a child. You kind of remind me of her when you laugh. In order to deal in this game, you got to make the queen disappear, and it's done with a figure to rest. But what's a sweetheart like you doing in a dump like this? You know, a woman like you should be at home. That's where you belong. Taking care of somebody nice who don't know how to do you wrong. Just how much abuse will you be able to take? Well, there's no way to tell by the first kiss. But tell me, baby, what's a sweetheart like you doing in a dump like this? You know you can make a name for yourself. You can hear the tires squeal. You can be known as the most beautiful woman who ever crawled across cut glass to make a deal. You know, news of you has come down the line even before you came in the door. They say in your father's house there are many, many mansions. Each one got a fireproof floor. Snap out of it, baby, people are jealous of you. They smile in your face, but behind your back they hiss. What's a sweetheart like you doing in a dump like this? You got to be an important person to be in here, honey. You gotta done some evil deed. You got to have your own harem when you come in the door. You got to play your harp until your lips bleed. They say patriotism is the last refuge to which a scoundrel clings. Steal a little and they throw you in jail. Steal a lot and they make you king. And one step down from here, baby, it's called a land of permanent bliss. What's a sweetheart like you doing in a dump like this?
What's a sweetheart like you doing in a dump like this? I've used that opening line many a time, but to no great advantage. That's a song from an album called A Nod to Bob. It's a singer called Guy Davis. I don't have to check that out to see what I don't even know what that's called. It's not called that. Yeah, it's called Sweetheart Like You. Guy Davis from an album called A Nod to Bob. Hello?
Hello.
Yeah, good morning.
How are you, Gerry?
I'm all right, thanks.
That's good. That's a great program you have.
Well, I don't know. There's no content in it, so it's difficult for me to judge.
Look, it's full of content.
Full of content. Thank you. All right, then.
You know what I'm going to tell you? I was on, it must be a year ago or more, and I read out a wee poem to you.
Did you? And what was it? What was the nature of the poem?
The nature of the poem was on No Smoking Day.
Oh, great.
And I was aiming to get the kids, prevent the kids from ever starting smoking, like, you know.
Mm-hmm.
The main reason being that I'm addicted to smoking all my life, Gerry.
Yeah.
And I hate the thought of seeing young people, getting caught with it.
I always think
You're
the best.
yourself too, I believe.
Well, yes, indeed. The worst thing, the best thing to do to make children not smoke is for their parents to encourage them to smoke.
Exactly.
People should say to their children, go on out there and buy a packet of cigarettes, Shufflet. Do what I do. Go on, buy a packet of cigarettes.
Reverse psychology.
And then they won't do it.
But anyway, no, I read out a wee poem that more than I've done. I do a wee bit of poetry. I'm sort of retired now.
Yes.
And do a wee bit of poetry in my spare time.
Do I know you? I should know you. What's
Jack
your name?
Williams.
Jack. Oh, Jack. Yes, sorry. I remember your name now.
It was called Teenage Smoke Alarm. Your man from the Cancer Research Campaign was there at that time.
Yes.
And he thought it was very good, and he said no wonder could we use it.
Oh, and yeah.
And he was giving away, you remember, a free course of patches.
Yeah,
as a prize or a draw or something like, and he said he'd get me a free course on it.
Did you try the patches?
I never heard nothing from him ever since.
Oh,
I sent him a copy of the
he probably forgot. You're better off without
more than likely, but anyway, not to worry.
You're better off without the patches.
I know that. I tried them since, anyway, no doubt.
The patches are great because what they do is they will help you stop smoking.
I know.
And then you put the patches on and you pay 30 quid a week for them.
That's right.
And the big patch is 30 quid a week.
But Gerry,
the medium patch is 30 quid a week, and the small patch is 30 quid a week. And then you put them all the patches on, and they're very good because you kind of, you don't get as great an urge for cigarette. Then you stop the patches. Now, as soon as you stop the patches, you go out and buy a packet of cigarettes.
Absolutely, you're dead right. But Gerry, tell me this here, and this is a serious thing here.
Yeah.
I am totally and utterly addicted, and I'm ashamed of the fact that I am.
I know.
I have heart trouble, if it bypasses the lot,
Have you tried these new tablets, Zyban?
Everything. They made me sick as a dog.
Yeah, well, they do.
Couldn't have them. But anyway,
they do work.
What I'm going to say is, Gerry, with all these things that they've brought out, okay, they help a lot of people, but there are people who are addicted like myself.
I know.
Who find it almost impossible, in fact, impossible in my case,
I know.
Now, would you tell me why, Gerry, it is, or maybe we can get it broadcast, why, if I was a heroin addict, they would take me into a clinic, and they would wean me off it, and detoxify me, etc., etc. Why can they not do the same for smokers?
It's because it's smoking is more or less socially acceptable.
It's like critical cases like mine, Gerry. I'm not talking about every man on the street that smokes.
I know.
I'm talking about people that really need this thing.
I know, but you're talking about alcohol as well. I mean,
but they do it for alcohol.
Not really.
You take an alcoholics and they take them in and they detoxify them and all.
That's right. Yeah.
They do nothing for smokers at all. I mean, there should be a specialised clinic there for people who are absolutely addicted and who need to get off smoking.
I suppose
the point I would like to get across.
I suppose the reason they don't do it, and I'm only guessing here. I suppose the reason they don't do it is that smoking doesn't kill everybody. Unfortunately.
No.
Sorry, I don't mean unfortunately. I mean fortunately. But the point is, if it did kill everybody, I mean, if you drink enough, it's going to kill you.
Absolutely.
But you can smoke all your life and be as right as rain. I mean, you know the story you've heard.
Oh, sure.
A man 100 years old smoked 40 players all his life. It's to do with your genes. I'm convinced of it.
It is, but then I stopped wearing jeans a long time ago.
Well, your bum disappears after you're 50.
Absolutely, and this is a big problem too. But anyway, to change the subject, look, there was an ad on the telly on BBC, I think it was the other night, about comedy writers, or would-be comedy writers for BBC.
Yes.
And I phoned the number up and they said, ring any Ulster BBC radio station and they'll send you out an application form.
Yes.
Could you do that for me?
I think I'm not sure if we have them, but I'm sure we have if they told you that. Yeah, it's a BBC initiative trying to get new talent writers because they're fed up with the rest of us.
I'm still doing a wee bit of poetry and that. I do some serious stuff and I do a wee bit of funny stuff too,
Yeah.
Have a wee quick one here if you'd like to hear it.
I'm always game for a quick one.
Do you like the lottery? Do you do the lottery?
I do actually. Yes, I did it last Saturday to no avail.
Well, now this is more or less. I've done this in the North Antrim vernacular here.
Do you know what I have too? So before you start,
what?
I'm just wondering if anybody else is the same as me. I see the scratch cards. I never lose when I buy a scratch card.
Oh, rubbish! I don't believe that.
I never lose. I went into a shop.
What are you still working for? You should be retired now.
I don't make big loads of money.
Oh.
But if I buy 3 scratch cards, I'll always come out there with more than I went in with.
Oh, I pack them things up.
Always. There's something which makes me think that there's a big win coming up.
Well,
I went into a shop the other day.
Fair play to you.
Let me tell you this. I went into a shop the other day and the girl was behind the counter. And I said, can I have 3 of those, please? 3 of those scratch cards. And she said, there you are. I said, I'll be back in a moment. She says, what for? I said, I'll be back to collect my winnings. And she said, no, you won't. I said, would you like to bet? And she said, no. I said, okay. I said, I'll be back in a minute. I said, look at those 3 cards. There's the 3 cards, in case you thought I was fooling you. There's 3.
Well, then you're just born lucky, you
I
see.
said, I'm going to go over and scratch those out, and I'm going to come back to you. And I came back over to her, and I said, right, give me 7 quid.
I bet you done Red Marauder on Saturday, too.
I did not. No, I have no truck with horses.
No, nor me.
No, I got horses out of my system when I was 18.
Oh, well, it took me a bit longer, but I got shot on about 25 years ago.
You must have an addictive personality.
Oh, it must be, because I was also addicted to drink 25 years ago.
You see, but there's
And I
certain...
walked away from it, like, you know.
There are addictive personalities. I mean, I bet you're a man... I mean...
I'm addicted to addiction.
Well, I'm the same in a way. See, if I go into a shop and buy... Maybe you're the same. If I go in and buy a half a pound of Licorice Ulcers, I will eat every one of them. One after the other, and I'll be sick. But I won't be able to stop.
There you are, you see.
Do you do that? Do you eat
No, I
sweets?
wouldn't be one for sweets, like, you know.
Well, what other
Fags
things?
is a different story.
Fags, right.
Anyway, can I read you a sweet poem out?
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
That's about the lottery, you see. And it's called When Ginny Won the Lottery.
Right.
And as I say, it's more or less in the Northampton vernacular, like, you know.
Yes.
Right. She stepped to the telly that Saturday night, and for the umpteenth time prayed her numbers were right. Up came her first, then the second and third. Then up came the fourth, and Ginny's eyes blurred. Now, very concerned, she continued to stare, wiping her eyes and swigging more than her share. A wee Sammy Stalker went up for the tumbler, came number 6. With whiskey in one hand and fag in the other, and near eating her bead, she cried, Holy Mother, I've won the jackpot at last. I'll get rid of that get that fell at me wains and kept me in debt. All covered in sweets, she ran out to the street, wanting tickets stuffed somewhere very discreet, and squealed to the world of the million she'd won, and what she'd done for wee Sammy when the wee bum got home. Of course, the neighbours looked out when they heard all the commotion, sagely nodding each other. Ginny's on the lotion. And just then the unfortunate wee Sammy appeared, pissed as in yitten with 3 days of beard. Come here, you wee blurt, and listen to this. My numbers can't come up and I'm gone on the piss. I've millions to spend and I'm starting right now, so book me a taxi to paint the town blue. Och, me darling, grins Ginny, get your bags packed quick. Why, where have we gone? Slobbers wee Sammy with glee. You can go wherever you like, you useless wee dick, for I'm halfway big Jimmy, now I'm rich and I'm free.
Is that it?
That's it.
That's good. A fair, comprehensive smattering of Ulster Scots in there. That's good. Thank you very much indeed.
More or less Northampton, you know.
Yeah, well, that's what it was, isn't it? Isn't that what it is? Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay, well, thanks very much, sir. God bless you.
Okay, what about that form you're going to send me out?
I will make inquiries. Let me just ask, anyone out there know anything about the BBC Talent Initiative?
I don't.
I know you don't. I'm talking about ordinary people. What about Geraldine? Does she know anything about it? Do we have forms out there?
Well, Geraldine's on the phone, and I don't know whether she knows or not.
I would really appreciate a little more enthusiasm, from the staff.
Unless
After all, it is a BBC initiative.
Unless I go to the reception and ask the receptionist.
Tell you what we'll do. Let's cut out the middleman. There's no enthusiasm at all from the staff on this program. I will see if there. I'm sure we have been sent forms. I'll send one out to you.
Right.
If we have one, if we haven't got one, I'll get one from Belfast, and I'll send it out to you.
Right. You needn't address.
Hold on, what?
Did Jack ring Belfast? Did he ring BH in Belfast?
No, you see, what actually happened was, did you hear something on the radio, Jack?
Yeah, no, on the TV it said and I just picked it up very quickly, like.
And it said contact any.
I phoned the number.
Yes.
And the number left a recorded message saying that you can pick up a form from any Radio Ulster station,
electricity station or substation. So it was it was a recorded message.
Yes.
But that's all right. It means that the
and
forms
are mobile too, which cost me more.
But the forms are there, Jack.
Eh?
The forms are there at reception in Belfast.
Why aren't they here though?
No, but that's no use to me. I don't want to have to drive to Belfast for it.
You see, Sean, I think you're missing the point here. I think he's asking us to post us one.
Yes.
It's not too difficult to grasp, is it? There's no reason at all why we shouldn't have them out there. If they've got them in Belfast, we'll probably get them here. Because after all, we are part of the BBC, aren't we?
Well, I haven't thought so, yes.
We are indeed. And indeed, may I say this, a very proud part.
Absolutely. And every reason to be, too.
Yes. Without the BBC, I think my heart would stop beating.
Eh?
Thank you very much indeed, sir.
You're welcome, Gerry.
We'll send you a form, and if we can't get one here by Thunder, we'll want to know why there's none here.
Well, tell me this, how are you going to send it when you don't know my address?
Well, what you have to
Hope
do...
you have your phone number.
No, but you see, no. What you do is, if you don't mind, sir,
yes.
When we conclude this conversation, you talk to Mr. Coyle, who, of course, will be very cheeky to you, but insist on leaving your number and your address. And then he will refuse to give it to me at the end, but I'll force it out of him.
Right.
Okay?
Right, that'll do great.
Okay, right. So keep writing, and by all means, that's an initiative by the BBC. We're looking for new talented writers.
Okay, Jay.
Okay.
Thanks for your help.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. We're looking for new talented writers to write George Jones's scripts.
Talking of writers.
Yes. What?
Talking of writers.
Talking of writers? On the phone is Martin Lynch, well-known writer and screen thing. Hello, good morning. Martin.
Good morning, Geraldo.
I'm sorry. We're very disjointed here today.
That's
Martin,
normal.
Well-known playwright Martin Lynch. How are you doing, sir?
Very well, Jerry. Yourself?
I'm fine, thanks.
Great.
We were talking about, we mentioned the fact that the special program's on this week all over in BBC Northern Ireland about the Blitz, and it's something that I didn't really know, to be honest with you, that children were evacuated out of Belfast during the war.
Yes, well, I mean, obviously I was too young for all this, Jerry. I'm only a young lad.
Yes, I was saying you're far too young for this carry on.
Growing up in a storytelling house, an extended family,
Uh-huh.
you heard all kinds of stories about all this stuff, and stories that filled me with great wonderment, and stories that have stayed with me to this day.
Mm-hmm.
About most of my family evacuated to a wee place between Dromara and Ballyhinch called the Dree and Mundaban Roads. And my family talked for years about their time spent out there.
Well, I mean, I've heard of other people talking about this, but specifically they were kind of English stories. You know, I really wasn't aware that people were evacuated from Belfast. So your parents were?
Yes, I think the two ways people got away from the Blitz, Jerry, was they either just walked up to the mountains. So, you know, Belfast is one of the few cities in the world that's completely surrounded by hills.
Sure.
And people either walked up to the Castlereagh Hills, the Black Mountain, the Divis Mountain, or the Cave Hill and stayed the night and then returned home the next morning.
The only thing wrong with that, in my estimation, would be if you went up the hills, the bombs would just hit you quicker.
Well, the notion was that the Germans were trying to aim for the built-up areas, to hit the shipyards and the war factories and so on.
But as we probably well know now, like, you know, you're probably no safer up the hills because they just let the buggers go anyway.
Well, that's right. There is one or two recorded instances of somebody being up the mountain and they weren't hit by a bomb, they were hit by a cow. And
cow?
they were brought to hospital.
Really? A flying cow? A displaced cow flying through the air. But I didn't realise, and your parents, and of course they'd have been obviously, what age were your parents at that time?
Well, my mother would have been a young woman in her early 20s, 20, 21, and after they weren't married at this stage, but after the Easter Blitz of 1941, all the kids from around our way were all rounded up and sent off on a number of buses to different places.
Yeah.
I think the same happened in most areas in Belfast. But what's interested me all this time, Jai, is that if you speak to certain people from certain parts of Belfast, they were all evacuated out to a particular area, like people from inner South Belfast, the Margaret, Summer Road, Donegal Pass, etc., seem to have been evacuated to Ardglass, Torella, around there.
Yeah, yeah.
And people from our district, which was like inner city York Street, North Queen Street, were evacuated to Ballyhinch, Dromara. And I always wondered how that actually happened. Who organised all this to happen?
Probably somewhere in the city hall with a big list of people. I'd say, draw the line, they'd send those to Ardglass and send the other crowd to Dromara. I don't know. But you developed a fondness for it probably through your parents' experience out there, is that it?
Well, what happened to us was that after the war was over, my mother and father then had a connection with that particular area.
Yeah.
And by the late 50s, we used to go, mid-50s and late 50s as kids, we used to go to that area to stay with relatives, the Quinns and the Gibbons and Todds. And then in the early 60s, my father spotted a wee cottage on the Mundaban Road, and he hired it for, I think it was 5 shillings a week. And we had 4 or 5 great summer holidays down there, staying in and around that area.
It's nice that because of that kind of wartime tragedy, you forge these links, and I'm sure you've got a fondness for the area today. Do you still go down there in no time?
Well, yes, as it happens, quite coincidentally, we would wander down occasionally, look around the old house or drive around the area. And when I was down about 3 or 4 years ago, I found that when I arrived on the old house where we used to stay, there was this big new mansion being built right beside it. And what is today a fairly isolated location. If you think, Jerry, back in the 50s and 60s, there were hordes of Belfast people swarming around these districts in the summer, still going on holiday down there. But by the time the sort of continental holidays arrived in the 60s, people stopped going, and so the whole area has, in a sense, lost that whole dimension.
Yeah.
And when I went back in the 4 or 5 years ago, there's a chap building a big mansion right beside the old cottage where we went on those holidays. And I discovered by complete coincidence he works in a bank in Belfast, and I told him it's a guy called Dennis. I said, Dennis, you must be mad building a house out in such a nice little place like this. And he says, no, it's fantastic.
Wow.
So he slagged me and said he's going to put the old cottage is still standing. He's going to put a sign over the door saying Martin Lynch slept here.
Well, you only have to look at places like Donegal to see what's going on up there. It's amazing. Like, I mean, if you buy a house up there, you need to have gold teeth coming out of your face. Like, I mean, it's unbelievable.
That's right.
But
Well,
sure, these places are going to become really fashionable as soon as the new world takes hold. You know.
Well, I would love to think that places like where we went for holidays, Dromara and so on, could actually regenerate in the way that they keep talking about urban regeneration, and I would be very familiar with that. But places like that really need some type of regeneration. I don't know what it would be, whether it would be if it suddenly became fashionable and Dennis has started a trend, then we could all build houses out in the old places we used to go to. That'd be fantastic.
I think that's what's going to happen because, you know, I think all cities are going to become glass palaces studded with McDonald's. And that's about the size of it, really. And everybody living out in places like Torella. I'm just wondering, you said earlier about different people went to Ardglass. They probably sent all the Catholics one place and all the Protestants another.
Well, that may have been true, but there were some mixed districts, so I don't know how they got on. Yes, it probably was that case that people have different experiences. I was speaking to a woman from the top of East Belfast a couple of years ago, and she says she was evacuated in a Enniskillen.
Yeah.
So even in those type of emergency situations, people were still divided, I suppose, to some extent.
A divide and rule.
Although the old unionist MP Tommy Henderson from the Shankill, an independent unionist, quite a character, stood up in Parliament one time and talked about how Catholics and Protestants are huddling together up in the shucks up the Black Mountain. And that if the people who ran the country knew the hardships Catholics and Protestants were going through side by side, they would do something about this.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's no great fun huddling in a shuck.
No,
Really.
I'd say there was some intimate relationships developed that perhaps lasted a lifetime.
Well, he's a man has fond memories of the shuck. Probably. And you still get down there. Are your parents still alive, Martin? Are they
No,
gone?
but both dead.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
But a lot of the extended family. I spoke to Alice O'Neill this morning, who was one of the people who went out there as a young girl just to check up on some of the facts. They all went to school in those places, they were telling me. And she was out there for 2 or 3 years.
Well, you know, it's an ill wind that blows no good. I mean, just because the Germans were bombing Belfast doesn't mean to say that the kids and the younger people wouldn't be able to go out and kind of form new relationships and see different places. As you say, relationships that have lasted right up until probably the present, you know.
That's right.
The links are there. It's a nice little story, that. All right, Martin, thanks very much.
Okay, Gerry.
Thank you very much, sir, and good luck to you.
I'll see you sometime later.
I hope so.
Thank
Bye. Were you evacuated?
No.
But, you see, the thing was, it was very strange up here because we were so close.
Warned. What talking about?
No, that's right. I just caught you there, didn't I? It's hard to remember back that far when you weren't born.
Jack, do you know Jack that you talked to?
Yes, which Jack was that now?
Jack, the farm Jack.
Jack the what?
Jack the farm.
Jack the farm Jack,
Yes.
right? To whom we must send the form. So
Yes,
we call
well,
him Jack the farm Jack.
I was talking to Jack.
Yes.
To get his address.
Yes.
And Jack said, "That's right, I was evacuated." So he's back again to tell you his story.
Where is he?
He's on whatever.
Everybody isn't on.
Aye, two.
But that
it.
didn't happen. But see, people in Derry Stoke London evacuated themselves voluntarily.
Sure, we had the bomb in here.
Of course they did, but the people just buggered off out of here. Nobody had to tell them anything.
My mother-in-law was bombed. Her house was bombed.
Is that right?
Yeah, we had the bomb in here.
That's right. There was a bomb. Yeah, that was the only serious bombing there was here in Derry Stoke London. Apparently, tried to bomb the shipyards, and there was a number of people killed down there in an area. But but before that, see, the thing about this place was that I remember in particular, we were all taken.
You don't remember this? How could you
No,
remember
but
this?
my family. I have older brothers. I'm not the oldest person in the world, you know.
No, but
There are other people
don't
older
remember
than
the
me.
war.
But I'm saying, I remember my mother and father telling me about the fact that when the Germans started bombing us, for no particular reason, might I add, everybody from Derry Stoke London Derry was from probably Donegal anyway. So they all just buggered off across the border. It's only a couple of miles, so it was no big deal.
Right.
So they all went down there, and then they came back and smuggled sugar in their knickers.
That's what that programme's on about tonight, by the way.
I know all about it.
And apparently there's some very funny stories been told.
I hope they're told.
Right.
Is Hugo involved?
Talking of glory holes.
Yes. Yes.
How come John Bennett's glory hole's up the stairs?
Because he's middle class. Hello?
Hello.
Morning, Jack.
Hiya, Gerry.
Back again.
Aye, I just thought when I heard you talking about the evacuation and that,
Yeah.
I thought I'd let Sean know that I was evacuated.
Yes,
myself.
because we were talking to Martin Lynch about that. Were you evacuated during the war?
I was born, you see, in East Belfast in Newtonards Road,
Yeah.
in a wee side street called Vickery Street.
Yes.
And somewhere along the line, now I was only born at the time, I was shortly after that. Somewhere along the line, we moved to a place called Tower Street.
Yes.
And then that was a temporary move, and we moved out of there, and we were no sooner out of it, and the whole place was flattened.
Lucky
And
for
the
you, says you.
Hey?
Good job for you.
Oh, it wasn't it just?
Mm-hmm.
So we were all, my father was a serving soldier,
Yes.
and he was in the Western Desert at the time, and I had 3 brothers and a sister. 2 brothers and a sister at the time, and my mother packed everything into 2 suitcases and was evacuated to Coleraine. We all had apparently labels round us, and she had the wee canvas plastic fronted hold-all type thing that they put you in the gas mask for a baby.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was up in our attic for donkey's years.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened at the end of the day, like, you know.
So you were evacuated to Coleraine?
We were evacuated to Coleraine. And the local authority, whoever they were then, I remember my mother telling us about the housing conditions. And they put us into a house in Stone Row. And she was telling us it was a terrible pit of a place crawling with cockroaches and rats. And she stayed in it one night and kept the fire burning all night and kept the wind around her all night, like, you know. And being a typical tough wee East Belfast woman, she didn't stand for this.
No.
She went down to the town hall the next day, and she took the whole lot of us with us, me in her arms, being only a baby about a year old or so. And this goes into this guy and tells him a story. He said, "Oh, no, there's not much we can do." She says, "Listen, my husband's out fighting in the front." Says, "And I want better accommodation than what you've given me here, and I'm not leaving this office till you give me it."
She did right.
She said, apparently she set me down on the table, on his desk, and planted the wains all around him.
And she said, "You look after them then."
And yes, and folded her arms and says, "Now we're staying here till you get me another house."
Yeah, yeah.
And she never moved. And apparently I peed all over his desk.
That got to the house right away.
And by 6 o'clock that evening we were moved to a lovely new house in Windsor Avenue, where we lived for about 40 years after that.
That's what's called a constructive pee.
Oh, absolutely. Worked wonders.
Well, this is the way to deal with officials. People don't do that these days.
Not at all.
Nobody ever goes up and sits down at somebody's desk and says, "I'm not moving until I get a flat." They don't do that anymore. People used to do that all the time. Very effective.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
That's right. People are too nice to people in the dole these days, not in the housing executive.
And we live very happily in Coleraine the rest of our days, more or less.
There we are.
Although I'm in Ballymoney this long time now.
So you actually stayed there? You lived there?
Oh, yes, we lived in Ballymoney in Windsor Avenue, sorry, in Coleraine.
I wonder how many people who were evacuated from Belfast actually
There
settled.
was quite a few, because there was a woman across the street from us too. Ferguson, they called them.
And she settled it there as well.
And she was from East Belfast too, and she settled there. And my mother and her were great friends all their life too, like, you know. And there was a woman from Donegal. How she got there, I don't know. But again, they were great friends.
Women from Donegal have a habit of popping up almost anywhere.
Haven't they?
Yeah.
Haven't they? All over the world.
They're like tumbling tumbleweeds.
Sure as heavens.
All right then. Well, thanks very much, Jack. That's an interesting story. So there you are. Did you know harm at all? Hitler never got you.
He never got me, anyway, and thank God he never got my father either. He came through two world wars unscathed.
Rommel never got him.
You know, and he did not.
The desert rat couldn't corner him.
Not at all.
All right then. It takes more than a desert rat to do your father in the desert.
That's surely, Gerry.
All right then. Okay.
Great talking to you, hey.
Okay,
and
Jack.
Keep up the work. You're doing a great job there.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome, hey.
Bye.
Bye now.
Bye. Bye. How do you think we would be now if Hitler rose? Do you think you and I would volunteer?
No.
Can you see us in the desert with a desert rat?
No.
Can you see me with the big boots on, climbing over the dunes?
No way. No.
Right?
No, we'll be
Can
no
you see
good.
me tackling the tank single-handed? With a machine gun post?
With a Tommy gun?
That's saying, "All for Ulster."
No, we'll be
Can
no
you see
good.
that?
No.
Laying down your life for your
Would you talk to Margaret in Devon?
I'm fighting for Ulster.
Would you?
Pardon?
Would you talk to Margaret, who's living in Devon, listening to you?
I think I will. Hello, Margaret.
Hello.
Good morning, you in Devon at the
Good
moment?
morning. Yes, I must say before we say anything else, I've missed you greatly. We used to live in Cumber, and we moved over here in 1994.
Oh dear.
And we just got Sky in last week, and I'm searching through the channels, and we couldn't see Gerry Anderson, so I just came on. And the subject you're talking about is evacuation.
That's right.
Now, I was born in the Royal on the 4th of April 1941, which I understand was just a few days before the Blitz.
Yes.
My mum had, I had a wee brother. He was about 2. And my mum was living up, Rosebery Gardens. And this day when the Blitz started, she just took us and walked out to friends at Washing Bay, a place called Derry Van Beg.
Yes.
Way out near Dungannon, I believe.
That's right, yes.
And we slept under the, this is what, I mean, I can't remember anything about it. Slept under the hedgerows. And we stayed there for quite a while.
Under the ditch?
No, out at this wee place, and we coming as you hear from Rosebery Gardens, they were quite a Protestant family.
Yes.
But the people we went out to were Catholics.
Uh-huh.
And they just looked after us, as far as I understand.
Yeah.
It was very, very arduous. There was nothing out there. The food was very, very scarce.
Yeah, you're in the outback.
Way out in the outback.
Yeah.
And, well, as I say, I don't remember anything of it. Unfortunately, I've lost my mum.
That's
Missed her dearly.
But I'm sure she talked about it all the
Oh,
time.
she did. Yeah. She was, they were the greatest friends. They were twins. They lived up the Falls Road.
This is one of
kept in touch for a long time.
This is one of the things that's happened, those kind of wartime bonds, they're very hard to break, aren't
Yes.
they? Or you don't want to break them. They last
You don't want to break them.
They last for generations.
Yeah.
Because people are under so much stress and so much strain that the friendships were stronger.
Yeah, and when they've got nothing to share, they still share it.
That's right.
And
yeah.
that is what happened there.
Yeah.
And I think it did us, all of us good in our family.
Yeah, I'm sure it did,
Yeah.
because anything that accentuates human decency
Yes.
is always good for a family.
It is.
Incidentally, before I go any further, you just mentioned that you found Radio Ulster on the Sky Digibox.
Yes.
I think the channel's changing tomorrow.
Is it? Well, I will take careful note of that.
It's on 927 now, isn't it?
Do you know, I don't know, because this is the first time I've looked at it.
Yeah, well, actually, I think it's changing tomorrow. As a matter of fact, I've got a little email note about this. What I'll do is, I'll get it out of the machine before 12 o'clock and see what it says.
Okay.
I think it's something like 8.
Yeah.
But I'll check that with you. You keep listening, I'll tell you what it is.
I will do that.
And all the listeners who listen on Sky Digibox, the channel is changing tomorrow. I think it's tomorrow anyway. I'll check it out. I'll come back to you in a moment. Okay, Lord.
Yeah.
Thank you for your memories. And are you over there in Devon? Are you married to a Northern Ireland man, or are you not married at all?
No, I was Belfast. He was English.
All right. Well, did you get used to him after a while?
Yeah. You do that.
All right, then.
Okay, you take care then.
Okay, bye.
And thanks a lot. Bye.
Bye. See you later. Bye. Hear me laughing?
I heard you laughing. Now you're coming round.
Why? What was wrong with me earlier?
No, I thought this last couple of days you weren't yourself.
Well, I haven't been.
No, I think I think what's helped you greatly.
What?
You've cleaned yourself up.
I think it has helped me because I was very dirty last
You were
week.
bogging on Friday.
I was really filthy on
You
Friday.
really were, yeah.
I was disgusting.
There was a bit of a pong.
I know. I smelt myself going out the door one day, and that's why I spent the whole weekend with a wire brush.
Yeah. It's worked.
It's worked. Do you see how fresh I am?
Well, there's an improvement.
Well, you see, I've been under a lot of stress, as you well know. I'm having a difficult time at home.
I know.
The garden's coming in on top of me.
That's so. Would you talk to Trevor?
No, I want to talk about what's wrong with me.
I think you're... Are you middle-aged?
Well, many people do you know who are 120.
No, but are you?
I have to say this to you, Sean, that there was a time when I looked up to people my age. And
What age is middle-aged?
Well, actually, what age do people usually die? Between 70 and 80, isn't it? Normally.
Let's say 80.
Get the if you're lucky, 80. Well, 40 is middle-aged if that's the case. But you see, the mistake that people make, people, human beings in general, are optimists.
I always thought middle age was older.
No. You see, someone who's 50, 55 are called middle-aged, but in actual fact they're three-quarter.
No, I thought they were even older than that.
They're three-quarter aged. You mean a man of 60 would be called middle-aged?
No, but
I think you would nearly. Yeah.
Would you refer to a man as a middle-aged man? It seems to be dying out, that expression, doesn't it? No, you wouldn't describe John Bennett as a middle-aged man if someone asked.
No, I describe him as a very old man.
No, it'd be a middle-aged man, a settled man. No, do men be settled or do women be settled?
It all depends how high their trousers are above their ankles. I mean, when you look at John, he's really settled. His trousers are almost up to his knees. But you see, this is what happens, and I don't know.
But do
if people,
women be settled? Would she
women,
be a wee,
women
would
do.
she be a wee
Whenever their hair gets pink, that's it.
She'd be a wee settled woman.
You go and, well, once you start to follow Daniel O'Donnell, you're settled.
Is it?
Because in a way, when you follow Daniel, you see, it means you've given up the hope of ever finding a man.
Mm-hmm. Right. So is there's settled men and there's
settled men. I know men who were settled when they're 15.
Or not.
I know men. I can see men today. I'll be honest with you. I can see men today walking around the streets of this city, whom I remember at school, who went to school with me, and they look exactly the same as they did then, and they seem to be wearing the same clothes, and they seem to have the same haircut, and those are the people that I knew at school who were settled then. Those are the ones that the Christian Brothers defeated.
Right.
The ones that knocked the spirit out of them. And they've been working in me jobs, and there's a fellow walks past this very building. And I know his nickname, but I'm not going to say what it is. I only know him by his nickname. But there's another thing. Do you ever meet people that you went to school with?
Did you ever sleep in a settled bed?
I have. I've slept in a settled bed in Donegal many a time. As a matter of fact, I spent my formative years up until I was about 15. I slept in nothing but a settled bed. I must confess and say to you that I spent about 10 years of my life every night of the week in a settled bed.
I didn't know what a settled bed was till about 2 years ago.
It's just one of the reasons there's things that's wrong with you. And another thing too, did you ever meet someone that you went to school with whom you hadn't seen since you'd been at school, and you knew him as a nickname? For instance, Froggy.
Did you just have a farm?
No,
you know a farm.
For instance, what?
Did you just have a bench in the house when years and years ago?
But let me finish the story. Why do you keep doing that?
Sorry.
Do you meet somebody? Have you met someone at school?
Right.
Who you haven't seen for a long time?
Right.
Since you were at school?
Right.
And you only knew him as something like Froggy or Snottery Nose?
Right.
I mean, and a man walks up a street and he's 40 years of age. He may have been to Canada for his last 20 years working as an engineer, or he may be a personal secretary to the Queen, for all you know.
Yeah.
But you haven't seen him since you were at school, and he walks down the street and he goes, "Hello, Sean." You go, "Hello, Snottery Nose."
Yeah.
Would you do that?
No.
Or you say, "Hello, Porky"?
No.
Would you do that? No. Well, what would you call him? You don't know his name.
Oh, you wouldn't call him his nickname.
Well, that's what everybody else called him. You called him Snottery Nose when you were at school. Why can't you call him Snottery Nose now, even if he's wearing a pin? But he might not. He knows he was called Snottery Nose.
I want to ask you about your living room.
Okay.
That's what I want to ask. Had you got a farm, like a bench in your house?
Actually,
like a seat, not a wooden thing with no cushions on it, just a wooden seat.
That usually went. If you're talking about Irish country homes,
yeah,
cottages.
But
the settled bed. There's a thing here. There's an east bedroom and a west bedroom. And
what?
East bedroom and a west bedroom. The houses were usually built east to west.
Didn't have an east bedroom in your house.
I'm talking about little cottages in Donegal and the likes of that. Traditional Irish cottages are normally built east to west.
And they called them by that?
No.
Oh.
No.
What?
There was the upper room and the lower room. The upper room is usually the west wing, as in the White House, and the lower room is usually the east wing. And the upper room usually resided the mother and father, right?
Right.
And the lower room, the older siblings, right? And then they sometimes had
is that the equivalent to our front room?
Yes.
Right.
Except it was a bedroom. No, it wasn't. The upper room was a bedroom, but it was a little bit more seriously decorated. The lower room was less plush, if you understand what I mean. The mother, what I mean plush, I mean painted orange boxes. Do you know what I mean? Whereas the ones in the lower room weren't painted. And then
was that the front room?
No. You frustrate me. You walk in the door.
Describe this house to me.
You walk in the door.
Right.
There's a common living area. It's not.
Is there a hallway?
No.
There's no hall.
No hall.
So you walk into the kitchen.
You walk into the kitchen.
With a range, there are kitchen,
yes,
the range.
Everything is there.
And out there's the scullery.
The dresser. There is no scullery. There has
to be a scullery.
There is no scullery. Sculleries came later, working class townhouses. What you had one room, a living room, and you had the big range, and the fire was up on the left-hand side. Right. The settled bed was on the right-hand side of the range as you're looking at it. The window was on the left-hand side, and that's where the form was.
Yes.
The form was along the bottom of the window. But as you walked in the door, the bedroom was to your right, and then to the left, up one step, was the upper bedroom. Right. But this living area was there. Then you had the dresser with all the Chinese delf on it. You had the wee wash stand. You had the strap to doing the razor.
Was your sink in there too as well?
Your sink. You didn't have a sink. you had a washstand which was wooden, and you had a basin of water on it, and you carried the water up and down the well. And then once you went in the door as well, before you went in the door, there was a big barrel, and in that was the feed for the chickens, which were poundies.
Oh, yeah.
We call them champ.
Yeah, but that farm was brought into the houses in the city then.
Oh, later, yeah.
Yes,
There
that
was a later
farm.
development,
That's right.
Yeah.
So
What are you
did
trying
have-
to say?
I just wondered. I remember houses with farms in them.
Of course, they went back because the farm was actually the most portable method of seating.
Yeah.
And there was a tradition of using farms in old houses, and that probably went... See, these people went to the city and they brought some of their habits with them, but some of their habits they couldn't habitually do because they...
Have I somebody on the line?
I don't know.
Have I? Go and check your lines.
Hello?
One.
Hello.
Oh, there's somebody there. Sorry, Mr. Coyle wants to know who you are. You.
I'm Trevor.
Okay, Trevor.
I thought I'd phoned the estate agent, sir.
We're describing
couldn't believe it.
Small bijou property.
East, west,
Yeah.
no
See, these
scullery, not even a jaw tub.
These are things that people don't know.
Amazing.
I'll tell you something else. I'll tell you something about that. I'm talking about specific houses in Donegal that haven't changed. They didn't change until the 60s.
Yes.
For hundreds of years. They didn't change until the TV came.
Yes.
And, I can remember, now I'm not old compared to Bennett, but I remember these houses exactly the way they were. I remember those houses just like that before there was television.
Well, now, Jerry, let me say that what you're describing and what I was brought up in the wee tiny 2-up, 2-down kitchen house, that you must have been living in luxury.
Not at all, no.
Compared to us.
No.
It sounds
These are
like
very
Donegal,
a small
Donegal
cottage.
to us would have been like America. That's what I was going to say to you. See, in the war years, I'm one of the war babies.
Yes.
And here's a story for you. My granny was an orphan, born last century.
Yes.
And she was brought over to Belfast to Stratheaton Street to be reared.
Where was she brought from?
From Lancashire.
Really? Yeah.
To be reared by an aunt. My granda, he was from Glasgow. He couldn't get any work. So he came to Belfast for work. Yeah. And of course they both met up, and on came a family. Then came the Second World War, and my mum had, at that time, she had 8 of us. Now the granny and granda, they lived off Seaview Street there, right around York Street, York Road.
Yes.
They were actually, and the all Protestant families, just keeping in mind what Martin had said earlier, they were actually moved down to Balnahinch and Guildford to a Catholic farming family who looked after them.
Okay.
Now, Granny lived till she was 97. She died in 1991. They were emigrated. They were evacuated in 1941. Yeah. And that Catholic family kept contact. They kept contact with each other every month till the day Granny died.
50 years.
50 years. Now, my mummy used to say, 8 of us. You had the wee kitchen house. You had the coal hole, as they called it. Mm-hmm. Her door was wrapped just before the bombers had come. And her door was wrapped, and there was a wee Catholic woman with family, someone of her own. And she says, Mrs., I'm a Catholic, nobody will take me in. And my mother took her in. Now, obviously, I wasn't born. I was born a year later, 1942. Yeah. But, and I, of course, I queried from others, well, where the devil could you put them? And it was in the coal hole until the bombers had passed.
Where was the coal hole, did you say?
The coal hole was actually, you see when you went through the front door?
Under the stairs?
Yes, you had the stairs to go up, and it was just under the stairs, exactly that's where it was. And then you had the pulleys and the scullery.
What's that?
The pulleys is where you hung your clothes.
Oh, I never heard that term before.
Oh yes. Now, my dad was kind of a quick-tempered man at times.
Did he take a wee drink?
Well, he did. Johnny did. Yes, he did indeed.
Yeah.
I'm the opposite, but I loved him as my father, you know.
Sure, of course.
And he standing shaving one day, and he was in bad mood, and then the polish and everything come down right out.
Right.
And we couldn't help it. We were so full of laughing.
And he wasn't a bit pleased.
That's right. Now, when my mum was emigrating, my dad was on the RAF, so my mum was evacuated down to Arboe.
Yeah.
And you know the area of Arboe, it hasn't changed all that much.
That's like Coal Island. Yeah.
And but for the sustenance of the Catholic and Protestant farmers to us as refugees, we might not have made it. Then we were moved on to Stewart Hall in Stewartstown.
Yeah.
Now I don't even remember. Now, there used to be a big shop at the corner of Donegal Street called Gurwich's.
Oh yes, did a branch up here?
Right. Well, and they were kind of looked upon as toughy-noed, high class, upper class sort of people. Well, they owned Stewart Hall in Stewartstown.
Uh-huh.
And they handed that over to help the refugees for the war effort.
Yeah.
And then after the war, I remember in the elections in the days, when the lorries came round, they came round the lorries to shout their politics.
Yeah, right.
And there was this big, tall man standing beside me. He was a war hero. And the guy that was electioneering was, you'd know the family, Lyle Kinnigan, the drinking family. They owned a big drinking place up at Country Road.
What do you mean, a drinking family?
They're like what Guinness is now.
Oh, yeah.
They produce the spirits and all that sort of stuff.
Drinking family.
Yeah, well, put that way too.
Okay, no, that's all right.
And the your man Kinnigan is doing the preaching of the politics, and big tears are running down this big war hero's eyes, and I couldn't understand it. So I went home and I said to Mummy, "What's wrong?" And I named who the man was. And what had happened was that he had been on his way home on leave when the bombers came in Belfast, and they actually shot up some of the streets, as you know.
Yes.
And one of the streets was Hogarth Street. And it was his wife and his kids, they were shot dead.
Oh, dear.
But he didn't know that. He was on his way home. And your man Kinnigan was his captain.
Yeah.
And just standing and listening to his captain. Just, brought kind of all that back,
Oh, dear.
And, well, I mean, there are tremendous stories, I suppose, have never been told, but that's part of it. Obviously, I'm getting on in years now, so hopefully I will have more time to maybe put pen to paper.
That's what you should do.
Because there's loads and loads of things like that, where religion didn't matter, where we're all poor, we're all hurt, we're all damaged by Hitler. And the last thing you were thinking about was, were you proud or were you a Catholic? You were wondering where your grub was coming from.
Suddenly it didn't seem to matter.
It didn't matter. What you required most was a roof over your head.
That's right.
And somewhere safe for the night. So
and somebody to give you a helping hand.
But that's right. So I just thought I would throw in my 2 pennies worth on that one.
Thanks very much.
And can I say happy birthday to my sister Maisie today? I'm going to tell you, maybe I shouldn't say so, I'll tell you, my parents had 19 of a family.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when I was 14, my dad was a small man. And I was always collared him, you see. And I went in one night, and as she said, we drop on him. I says, "Johnny, I heard you were in court." He says, "You being funny face again?" So, "Yes, I heard you went out one morning to bring in the milk and you were starkers." And the wee woman seen you and she reported you for indecent exposure. So you were brought to court and the magistrate said, "What's your name?" So he gave his name. And he says, "Are you married?" "Yes." "Have you any of a family?" He says, "I've 19. And the magistrate said, "Case dismissed. This man was in his working clothes."
All right.
So there you are, Jerry.
Okay. Yeah,
I had a friend come over to me last year, and we did a program on. He just stopped the car laughing. He just laughed that much.
Oh, that's good.
So that's tremendous. You're doing everybody the world of good. You know this. A laugh goes a long way more so than any arguing and fighting and round ever did.
Thanks very
pleasure
much.
to speak to you now, Jerry.
Thank you very much.
Bye now. Bye.
Bye. Goodbye. Bye. We found this at the people, satellite listeners. I'm not sure if it's 927 or 929 at the moment, but from tomorrow, Radio Ulster will move to channel number 868. Right. So those of you who are listening on Sky Digibox, the channel that you're on now is no good after tomorrow. It's no good tomorrow, should I say. BBC Radio Ulster is moving over to channel 868. Okay, because there's a lot of people do listen on that all over the world, to be honest with you. Not to me in particular, but to Radio Ulster in particular. Why should they listen to me? Is there someone on the line here? Or what?
Yes, Marge.
Marge. Hello, Marge.
Marge, M-R-D-G-E, Gerry.
You were hard to get during the war.
Well, anyway, and I know there's not much time, so I'll be as brief as possible.
That's okay.
No, I remember, I was 9 when the war came, and I was 11 actually at the Blitz. But I can remember, I think it was before the actual Blitz, forms came around the schools, and you had to take them home, and your parents had to fill them in. I do or do not want my child evacuated. And so that's how they started it. That's how it was organised.
Really?
Yes. Yeah. And a lot of children went, I think, from the beginning of the war nearly.
Uh-huh.
But once the night the Blitz came, my God, Jerry, they went in their thousands.
Couldn't wait to get out.
We went to the BCDR railway, as it was then, was absolutely chock-a-block, and everybody had to walk down. You know what I mean? People with prams and everything were walking down. It had somewhere to go at all. And 6 adults and 7 children ended up. We all went to this wee bungalow. A friend had a wee wooden bungalow, dry toilet, and had to go to the pump and all for the water, you know. But anyway, we only stayed 5 days. And we came back and we just stayed there the rest of the time in Belfast. And luckily there was one more big blitz after that, but it was more, we were on the Crumlin Road, so we got the Easter Tuesday one. But I think the couple after that were towards the shipyard, and the poor people down York Street and East Belfast, they got them.
That's right.
And after that there wasn't much. The sirens went all the time. You still get up out of bed and wait, but nothing happened, you know.
Apparently there's nothing more frightening or more horrible. I was talking to some people who actually were, were in an area that was bombed. And they said there is nothing in the world as frightening as that.
Well, I remember there too, sitting in the coal hole, and we hadn't the coal hole emptied out, like.
Yeah.
So it was half full of coal, and we're all sitting on the coal on top of old bits of mat. And my mummy and my sister and 2 wee sisters. But anyway, yes, you could hear the bombs coming down whistling.
I know.
And then they stopped. And then you heard the bang, and it was when they stopped you wondered were they going to hit you.
That was the thing that really annoyed the people.
It was terrifying.
The suspense.
But Gerry, I could write a book, as you know. We could keep you for hours talking.
Well, you should write one.
I know.
You should write down your memories.
But we could keep you for hours and hours, really
All right,
could.
then. Okay, love.
But I'll tell you something, Gerry. I remember John Bennett interviewing Ruby Murray.
Mm-hmm.
And she had a horrendous... Some kids did have horrendous experiences with the people they stayed with.
Yeah.
Evacuees, you know.
Didn't work out so well.
So that recording must be down there somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And it would be worth listening to just to hear Ruby's story, you know.
Yeah, it would be. I'm sure at this very moment, John Bennett is rummaging around the bottom of his case.
Well, I'm sure it was Ruby. I'm sure it was, because he had a program on about her one day.
Okay.
But that was, I think, how they got organised with the children at first. The forms came round to the parents from the schools.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right, thanks very much,
bye.
Thank you. I didn't know that. You had a choice whether or not you could actually go or not. Just goes to show you. Could you please play Whispering Hope, it says here, for Father Joe McCullough and Richard McCullough. Happy birthday. I don't know which is for from Mum, Dad, Brother Martin and all the family. If you want to hear a song called Whispering Hope. I don't think I have that. And hello to Wilson Kilpatrick in his tipper lorry. He's 65 years old today. Should be retired. Of course, why not? Happy birthday to him from his old lady. I promised to play a bit of this and I never got round to it. I promised to play this at 22:11. It's now 2 minutes to 12.
Alcohol is all it takes to make you fall. If I stroke your ego through the night, it'll be alright, it'll be alright. If this is desire, expect nothing new. What if this is love? Burn your black suit. If this is desire, expect nothing new. What if this is love? Burn your black suit. I worry now I'm close to you, for your face is grey, your lips are blue, and you spend your days in no man's land. Make me take my pleasure when I can. You trail behind me like a broken kite, but it's far too late to put things right. And I find that looking back at you gives a better view, a better view. If this is desire, expect nothing new. What if this is love? Burn your black suit. If this is desire, expect nothing new. What if this is love? Burn your black suit. Call yourself a dark angel, born to make it good. A dark angel from the heavens to the Lord King. If this is desire, we're expecting nothing new. When this is finally love.
We're not going to get to the end of that. Thank you, Juliet Turner, Burn the Black Suit. Happy birthday, belated last Saturday for Celine Armstrong, from all the family and the 2 wee cubs. That's all we have time for. We'll be back tomorrow at the same time. Goodbye.
92 to 95 FM.